Welcome back to Empowered and Unstoppable, the podcast for high achieving women who are done settling for a life that looks good on paper, but feels like a slow, soul sucking decline inside. You know that I'm always going to tell you the truth, ladies. I'm your host, Megan Bonnell, life coach, speaker, mom of four, recovering overachiever, and the queen of helping people create a 10 out of 10 life without burning their entire existence to the ground. Every week, we talk about the real stuff behind success, not just the highlight reel, but the messy middle, the breakdowns that come before breakthroughs, and the powerful choices that make you absolutely unstoppable. Welcome to Empowered and Unstoppable, the show where high-achieving women crush self-doubt, ditch imposter syndrome, and step boldly into their greatness. I'm your host, Megan Bonnell, and together we'll unlock the mindset, strategies, and confidence you need to create unstoppable success on your terms. Let's dive in. And today, the woman joining me is someone whose story is like financial whiplash meets spiritual awakening meets wealthy woman renaissance. I cannot say enough amazing things about her. She built multiple millions and then lost it all. I'm sure she'll tell you a story about that. And then rebuilt everything, but not from hustle, not from fear, from wisdom, from joy, and from a mission that literally gives me the chills. She helps women step into financial freedom, real freedom, ladies, the kind where your business isn't your lifeline and your job isn't your security blanket and your partner is not your retirement plan. And the government, it's a bonus, not a necessity. She's a global speaker, a certified trainer, the author of The Little Book of Prosperity, the founder of Real Prosperity Inc., and she literally created the world's first cryptocurrency designed for women's financial freedom. What? Like, who does that? Oh, she does. She's here with us. So now I would love to officially welcome the amazing woman behind this awesomeness, that brilliance, that humanity. It all belongs to the incredible Penelope Jane Smith, the financial freedom mentor behind Real Prosperity Inc. Penelope, welcome to the show.
Yay. Thank you so much, Megan. This is a juicy topic, and I know we're going to go some really interesting places because you like to keep it real and get into the dirt. I also have two kids. I don't know if you know that. I have an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old, both on the autism spectrum. So, it's real balancing the business and the investments and the babies and everything. And so I'm just thrilled to be here.
I love it. I love it. And for those of you who knows when you're actually listening to this, but she just got off of an incredible launch and I'm sure that we're far after that ended, but it doesn't mean that you can't ride the coattails of that and get involved too. So make sure that you're listening because she is just evergreen, ever here, ever willing to help you reach that goal of financial freedom and joy. So Penelope, I couldn't be more excited to have you joining us today. I love talking about money. I love learning about it. I love investing it, making amazing choices with it. Sometimes less amazing than others. But let's be honest, I cannot wait to dive into this topic. I wish I could talk to you all day. So before we get started, though, with all that good stuff, this is where I always start. What is something weird, quirky, or just plain human that your clients or the world would never guess about you?
Something weird, quirky, or just plain human. Well, I think that something I don't think I've ever talked with my clients about is that I was a very shy and introverted child. And if you know me now, you'd be like, "What?" I would sit on the playground and crochet and like do little drawings, and I didn't really interact much with the other kids. And I think I really found my voice when I was 15 and I volunteered to work at the Renaissance Fair.
Oh, I love the
And
Renaissance Fair.
right, it's so fun getting all dressed up and like learning the accent that you're supposed to use and all of that. And when you work at the Renaissance Fair, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can do it, but one of the ways you can do it is you can join a guild, which is kind of like a group of people that have a specific job or role at the Renaissance Fair. And in this case, the guild I joined was the Town Criers, which is all about being loud, right? Like
So loud. Yeah.
make way for the queen, right? So I like got my bell and I'm like projecting my voice, and I think that's where yeah, that's where I got loud.
Well, thank you, Renaissance Fair, for bringing Penelope, the real one, out because I love it. I'm shocked. I would never have guessed that about you. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I love it. Okay, we're going to dive in. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So you have lived what most women, I think, fear, even if it's not a fear that's on the top of their mind. You built wealth. Yay, good job. And then you lost it all.
Mm-hmm.
And then you rebuilt it, but in a totally different way. And perhaps our listeners are either trying to build wealth for the first time, or maybe they have lost it, or maybe they have that fear deep down inside. So let's fill them in on your story a little bit. What was the moment, not the glossy, polished moment, but the raw, oh my goodness, everything is falling apart moment that changed you forever?
I think if it had to come down to a moment where it all really hit me was I was standing outside the Solano courthouse steps, and there were these like this little group of old white guys huddled around this guy that came out that had a clipboard, and they were announcing the houses that were coming up for foreclosure. And it was like this little gaggle of investment guys, you know. And the guy with the clipboard was like, "Oh, okay, well, this next one is in Benicia." And the guys got all excited and they're nudging this one guy. They're like, "Oh, Benicia, you like Benicia, right, Bob?" And they're like, "Oh, and the borrower's name." And they said Penelope. My name's Penelope. They said Penelope, like it rhymes with cantaloupe.
Yes.
I just like it all just kind of just hit me like, oh my God. My thought was, I'm losing my home. Say my name right. You know, it was so
Yes.
like painful and disrespectful and just gross. And it just like this huge wave came over me like, oh my God, I am losing my home. My home is going to foreclosure. And these guys do not care at all. To them, I'm
No.
just a number, I'm just a whatever. Like, no one, I'm losing my home and no one cares. And I was like shaking and crying on my back to the car. And like from that moment, I lived in fear that I was going to come home and find the locks changed and my pets trapped inside. I had two cats and an African gray parrot. And so I was like scrambling, trying to find another place to live for me and my pets. And I didn't know how long it would take from the auction to somebody changing my locks. So it was a very, very scary time. And the electricity got turned off. I couldn't afford to get it turned back on. So everything in the fridge went bad. And yeah, I mean, I've lived through some people's worst nightmares financially, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
So fill us in with what got you to that moment. Like how did you get there? Because you had built incredible wealth, and
Hmm.
then what? What happened?
You know, if I knew then what I know now, things would have been different. Like, I don't know that I would have been able to prevent the bankruptcy because I did not cause the global financial crisis. Let's
Oh,
just be
good. I'm glad that we know that because I was going to blame it on you right now.
sometimes there's just like socioeconomic factors that are just bigger than you know,
Yeah.
and it's like I really believe in creating your own personal economy that may or may not have anything to do with the economy at large. And sometimes there are these big factors that you know, influence your personal economy, right? So for me to go up against the global financial crisis, like I don't know if I could have come through that completely clean. However, I think I could have cut my house. I definitely would have been able to keep the electricity on for sure.
Yeah.
And one of the things, so I started out with $10,000 of my own money. Over 4 years, I turned that into over $6 million of real estate. So I had over 35 properties all over the United States. I was on track to be able to retire by the time I was 31. So that was the plan, and that's where I was. And then when the global financial crisis hit, it hit so hard and so fast that it felt like overnight, you know? And
Yeah.
one of my partners and I were in contract on this 4 unit building, and it was going to be like a $400,000 payday. And we were in contract, right? And as everything started going down, the buyers like got out of the contract at the last possible minute, and then the values had dropped in like half, you know? So
Yeah.
I didn't know that it could all go that bad that fast. And I just scrambled and scrambled to like try to keep everything together. I paid whoever yelled loudest, and I didn't take into consideration how I was going to meet my basic human needs. And so I was giving my electricity and food money to some bank because they called me and made me
Yeah.
cry, right? In fact,
Right, right.
the a collector from Washington Mutual called and got me to agree to pay $500 a month on my home equity line. But Megan, I want you to get how insane that was because I wasn't paying the first mortgage, so the home was going to foreclosure. Why
I
would I
know that.
agree to pay $500 on my home equity line? Like,
Right.
what the hell? It's because they got me all emotional. I wasn't thinking
Yep.
rationally. And so I agreed to do that. And meanwhile, I didn't know how I was going to feed myself or my pets or keep the electricity on or anything like that. And one of the skills that I didn't have, and I didn't even know was a thing, I didn't know I didn't have it, was the skill of cash flow planning. And so that's something that I teach at my Financial Freedom 101 event now, because if I had had a plan like that, I would have had a much better job of navigating through that crisis. Because even
Right.
if you've got people calling you and you got more bills than money, like when you can work your way through a plan and a plan that has you make sure that your basic human needs are taken care of first, well, you can live to fight another day, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yep.
And in my case, I might have been able to keep my house, really. But I just didn't know. And when you're in financial crisis, it's like your prefrontal cortex of your brain just like goes offline, you know?
Yes. Yes.
You're in complete like animal reactive mode, like not making the best decisions,
Yes.
And that was me.
Yeah.
So
And so now you help women not get there.
yeah, I help them avoid some of the painful mistakes that I've made. And also, challenges come up in people's lives, whether it's a medical issue, a health thing, divorce. There's all sorts of things that can wipe you out financially.
Hmm.
That's not even your fault. And then of course, sometimes it is your fault. But
Yeah.
most of the time when I talk to people, it was something bigger than them that knocked them
Hmm.
out. A divorce, somebody embezzled from them, there's a health problem. And so I'm here to help people basically recover and rebuild and rise like a phoenix from the ashes. Because sometimes you just have to. One of the
Yes.
things that really infuriates me about the whole like financial planning industry, financial experts, like everybody's like, okay, so here's what you do if you want to become financially free or retire. You ready for this? Land a job making hundreds of thousands of dollars in your 20s. Okay.
Okay.
Sock
I
away
missed that
like,
one.
yeah, right. Sock away like 100 grand a year into investments for 40 years.
Dang
And
it.
then you go. And I'm like, oh my God, I have so many problems with this. Like, first of all, like your 20s, you're just trying to figure yourself out, right? And even if you are one of those precocious people that knows what you want to be and knows what you want to do, landing a job making 100, 200, 300 grand right out of school, like that's not most people.
No.
Right. And even if you do, managing to save that like huge percentage of your income for 40 years, that's a lot. And let's say you do all that, Megan, right? Let's
Yeah.
say you start making a ton of money at a young age and you put 50% of your income away, and then somebody embezzles from you,
Yeah.
or
Gone.
it gets cancer, or something happens. Well, then what? It's like even if you did all the things right, which most of us just can't do, like either because
Yep.
we didn't have that opportunity or we didn't have the knowledge or whatever. But even if you did follow that path, there's, like I said, socioeconomic things that are bigger than you that can wipe you out. And so there has to be another way. There has to be a way to recover. Like it's like, okay, if I didn't get this dialed in my 20s and now I'm 50, well, I guess I'm working at Walmart. Like, no, there's
No.
got to be a way. So that's why I developed our three-step signature approach to become financially free in 5 years or less. And once I developed that system, I ran myself through that system, you know,
Yeah.
and thankfully it worked. And I think it's just so much more realistic than the dollar cost average for 40 years, and hope it all works out model. It's not like that can't work. I
Yeah.
just see it working for most people, especially the people I work with, because I work mostly with women entrepreneurs.
Yeah. No, and I think you're right. That's not a reality for most people. And like you said, even if you did it, then what? Then what if
Yeah,
it all falls apart then? Yeah.
stuff can still
Well,
happen. So,
I'm super excited to dive into all of that. I do want to point out that I think that most real women, especially, we're emotional beings in general, don't realize that a lot of times our breakdown isn't punishment, right? And it doesn't have to be financial. It could be a health related thing, it could be a relationship thing, but it just is a time for us to pivot. And I love that you're proof of that, that sometimes losing the very thing that you built gives you the wisdom to build what you're actually meant to build, whether that's a relationship, whether that is your life, whether that is financially. And I think that that's a really good example. So thank you for being vulnerable and for sharing that with us. I am trying to put myself in your shoes on those courtroom steps. And I can't imagine. It literally gave me chills. And then how did they say your name? Like cantaloupe.
Penelope, like
Penelope.
cantaloupe. I'm like, my God. I'm so
Oh,
grateful to Penelope Cruz, the Spanish actress, because
yes.
before she became popular, nobody knew how to say Penelope. And I'm like, come on, it's not that hard. But yeah, once she come on, then people knew, and I was like, yay, Penelope Cruz. So now I say Penelope, like Penelope Cruz. And then they're
Yeah.
like, oh.
Well, Penelope Cruz, if you're listening to this, thank you. We would like to thank you for your existence so that we can say Penelope's name correctly. We appreciate you being in the world. So, you talk a lot about making financial decisions from joy instead of panic. You talked about that a little bit, or obligation, which, hello, most women I feel like are out here checking their bank accounts like it's a horror movie. Seriously, I think that a lot of people are in that position. What does it look like practically and emotionally to shift from that fear-based money decision point to a joy-based money decision situation?
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is living from your values, right? So the decisions that I make in my life, the decisions that I make in my business, all revolve around those core values. And we get clear on those and you use those as a touchstone, it helps. And so for me, one of my highest values is freedom. And so that's why we make decisions we make in our company and in my life. And what I want for everybody is I want people to make choices from a place of freedom and joy instead of debt and obligation because we don't know how much time we have on this planet, right? And every minute that's a minute we're not getting back. Even if you believe in reincarnation, you're not going to be like this exact person in this exact
No.
place again, right? And so yes, one of the things that we have to plan for is like maybe we end up having a long and healthy life and we need money for it, right? But I think you need to balance that with being aligned with the life you have now, right? Because we don't know how
Mm-hmm.
much time that we have. And so there's the emotional journey, the like inner game journey, and there's the financial journey, the outer game journey. And they're related. I've never been able to separate the two. Like when somebody says, "Oh, if your why is strong enough, you don't need to know how." I kind of want to punch them.
Just like a little bit, like a little slap.
I'm like, no, sometimes you just need to know how to do something. Like, that's a good place to start, right?
Mm-hmm.
At some point, you need to learn how to invest, how to open your brokerage account, how to, what is an investment strategy? Nobody even talks about this. Like
No.
I mean, in my 30s before I even heard the term investment strategy, right? And what does that even mean? It means a clear plan based on real data for protecting and growing your money. But like up until then, I thought the stock market was just gambling. I was like, I don't know, I like Starbucks. I'll buy some Starbucks stock. Like,
I'm building a bathroom. Let's buy some Home Depot. I don't know.
and it's like, and people don't, like, they have no basis of making those decisions, right? Because nobody ever teaches us this
No.
stuff. Um, so I think on the emotional side, it's good to have tools to help you bring yourself into balance around money because the truth of the matter is you can have stress and worry and freak out at every level,
Yes.
and so it's about the money a little bit, but it's also not about the money. I know people who have hundreds of millions of dollars. You would think there's no way they could possibly be stressing out about cash flow. But they're like, oh my God, we need $1 million for this thing, and this investment is tied up and it's illiquid, and blah, I'm freaking out about money, even though I'm worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm like, yeah, wow, and then sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you have like no money in your account, but you're like, I feel great. I'm alive,
Yep.
I'm healthy, it's a sunny day. And so I think that managing the emotional journey through whatever tools work for you. Like I like emotional freedom technique because it's fast and it's easy and it can like chill me out in a minute. You know, there's
Yeah.
a there's video on my Penelope Jane Smith YouTube channel if you want to see how I do EFT, and I'll like have me like walk you through an EFT process around like I don't
Hmm.
deserve money or something like that. You can check that out. That's one of the ones I like. So just being mindful of that inner game journey. And then on the outer game journey, there are certain things that really help. Like when you are not cash flow positive, meaning you don't have enough money to pay your bills, I think it's normal to feel some stress in that situation.
100%.
You're like, especially if it's not just things you like, oh, I would like to buy some new clothes, or I would like to keep Netflix versus like if you don't have
Hmm.
enough rent or food or some of the more serious things, right? So obviously getting to a place where you're cash flow positive can really help. And there's two sides to that. There's increasing income and there's getting more organized with cash flow planning, right? And a lot of the time people think they need to make more and they actually just need to manage cash flow better. But sometimes you need to make more. So there's some outer game stuff there that can really help. It also helps to have a cash cushion to be between you and life's unexpected stuff, like even just a
Hmm.
little $1,000 cushion to start. Eventually it'd be amazing if you could have 3 to 6 months of living expenses. That would be awesome. But I know for a lot of people, I know for my past self, that felt so big that I
Hmm.
was like, yeah, I'm never, never going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So starting with just $500 or $1,000, like eventually you want more. But even that, Megan, is life changing. Like when I
Hmm.
was recovering from bankruptcy and I had my $1,000 saved up, my car got a flat tire and I had to go get a new tire. And in the that could have been like a major issue. But
But you
instead,
had that little cash pad.
it was an inconvenience. I didn't love it,
Yep.
but it was just handled. I wasn't suddenly without transportation because I didn't have the however much I needed for a tire. I also realized that I could raise my deductibles on my insurance because I now had $1,000. So I raised my deductibles from whatever they were, 250, 500 to 1,000. That saved me money on insurance premiums. And now, ooh, that's extra money in my monthly cash flow that I could use
Hmm.
to save or invest or do something to, work towards my financial goals instead of just giving it to the insurance company. So just even that little buffer can create such wonderful positive momentum in your life. And then ultimately, of course, when we talk about the financial freedom formula, that is when your passive income is more than your expenses. So the
Hmm.
financial formula is PI is greater than E. Passive income is greater than expenses. And once you get there, that's to me, that's the ultimate because now you're in complete choice about what you do with your time because finances are handled.
Yes.
And so when I'm working with women entrepreneurs, especially to become financially free, I'm moving them along that spectrum, all along becoming cash flow positive, paying off any debt that feels like a burden, creating a cash cushion, starting to invest, all the way to have their passive income be more than their expenses, because then you get to check in. And even now, I just check in every now and then and I'm like, am I happy with everything I'm doing? Do I want to do events? Do I want to have this team? Do I want to do this podcast interview? And it's really nice to be able to make choices that are in alignment with
Hmm.
your heart and your soul. And you're like, yeah, I want to do this. This is part of my life purpose. This is my part of my life passion. Yay. But to be out of that, like, oh my God, I have to do this. And if this launch tanks, I'm out of business, or if this, I have to work with this client I don't want to work with because I need the money. Oh, like
Hmm.
I don't want anybody to have to make those decisions. And maybe sometimes in the short term you eat it, but ultimately, this is where I want to move everybody. It's a feeling of what I call escape velocity. I'm not even sure it's the right term, but like how a rocket ship uses most of its fuel to get off the ground, and then you get to this
Hmm.
point where you've broken free of the Earth's gravity, and there's this sensation of like spaciousness and floating. And for me, being well acquainted with having done the struggle and having done the hustle and having done the financial crisis, I would like so much rather be here and I never want to go back. And this is what I want for everybody else.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that was
I love
that was a
that.
long answer to that question.
No, 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 no. I love it. And I can definitely relate to that feeling, that freedom, because it's heavy to be
Mhm.
under that stress and to feel like almost as if your livelihood is tied to the dollars that are coming in on your paycheck.
Yeah.
My husband and I used to have very successful corporate jobs. We both worked for two different world renowned companies.
Mm.
But our shift originally happened because we realized that we were trading our time for money. Our money wasn't working for us, we were working for our money. And that
Yeah.
shift, we had to make that shift because we were in an uncomfortable place of knowing, if we wanted to make more, then we had to work more, right? And that isn't freedom. That's literally a direct tether. And so, that shift allowed us to recognize that if you make the right decisions and your money can be working hard for you even when you aren't, that there is that freedom that goes along with it. And you don't have to be concerned about whether you have your job next year or whether the economy is tanking. There's, yeah, a lot of peace and joy. I love that spaciousness, and floating that goes with it. And I love that you teach women how to do that. And not that it can happen tomorrow, like there's a path, but that you have that laid out for them. Because, like you said earlier, it's great to know your why. But if
Mhm.
I don't know how am I going to get there? Right. And so, ladies, Penelope is your how. She will show you all of that, which is amazing. So let's talk about that passive income a little bit, if you're okay with that.
Absolutely. It's good.
You help women to create, let's say, 10,000 plus per month in passive income,
Right.
not the internet bro marketing version, right, of passive income, but actual cash flow. So again, there's no Ferraris, no fake, I make money in my sleep screenshots, like the real stuff. What do you think is the biggest myth about passive income that women really need to throw directly into the trash?
I think that it's probably when some people say, well, passive income isn't real. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I mean, if you've ever gotten interest on your savings account, you know it's real. That's
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of passive income, but that is pretty passive income. And so I think the main thing is to understand that there's a spectrum of passive, right? So some things are more passive than others. So like passive income from real estate. Some people are like, why do you call that passive? You still have to manage your tenants and diddle. I'm like, well, according to the IRS, it's called passive income. I don't know what to tell you. Like that is
Yeah.
legally how it's classified.
Literally what it's called.
Yeah, I mean, so I've, having owned over 35 properties all around the United States, I can tell you that passive income from real estate isn't as passive as like a savings account that just sits there. Even if you have a property manager, you still have to manage the manager.
Mm-hmm.
Ask me how I know, right?
Yep.
But it's worth it because your money is still growing and working hard for you with only minimal time and energy from you. And I think that's the mindset shift that we need to make as women entrepreneurs is I'm going to work hard for money, work hard for money, work hard for money, work hard for money. And the shift is get your money working hard for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, your money can work so much harder for you than you can work for it. Like you were saying, if I want to make more, I have to work more. But eventually, like you run out of time to sell.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, even
Yeah.
if I'm willing to work 24/7 and just live on, just shoot up the meth so I never have to sleep.
Yeah.
But
And what kind of life is
you,
that? Like, what would you build? Yes. Yeah.
you hit a limit, right? Whereas your money can just work 24/7, 365 forever. And it's like having babies, and then the babies are having babies, and it's multiplying. And like you've heard of compound interest, but it can be hard to wrap your mind around just how it can snowball and compound for you. And so like there's nothing wrong with working for money. Like my company gives me a paycheck. Why not? This is a whole business that I've built around my purpose and passion, and it fuels me and it fulfills
Mm-hmm.
me. Um, so I'm not saying like that's bad or wrong, but like start getting your money working for you also because that's your path to freedom. So like let's say you did, start at 25 and you started putting $50 a month away. If you did that till you're 65, just $50 a month, you would have invested $24,000 because $50 a month times 12 months times 40 years, that's $24,000. Okay. Let's imagine that you could get a 15% return on it. That would grow to almost $1.6 million. So, like 24, that's what you put in. But most of that, over $1.5 million, that's your money growing and working for you. So, it's
Mm-hmm.
very hard for you to match that. And you might say, oh, well, I don't know where I'm going to get a 15% return, or, I don't want to wait 40 years. Okay, okay, okay. I'm just making the point that your
Yes.
money can ultimately really grow and multiply in ways that you can't because you're limited by your human physicalness and time.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I love that. And I think that a lot of times people do think of passive income as set it and forget it. And so they don't think of something like real estate as passive income. But real wealth isn't set it and forget it. It's set it and build it and nurture it, pay attention to it, right? If you're going to give it effort, it's going to work better for you, rather than just like put it in and let it roll. And I think that that's a game changer if they can change that image. And I love that you talk about compound interest because it is amazing, and it's a tool that's going to work harder than any other effort that you're going to give in life. And the earlier you start, even if it's little tiny chunks, it makes such a big difference in the long run. I love that.
I would say that the habit of managing your money is more important than the amount. So just start where you can, take the next step. If you're not already auto transferring money into investments, like start now, even with $100, $25, $5, whatever. And if
Yep.
you are already auto transferring into investments, see if you can increase it a little bit, right? Increase your transfer rate. I had oh my God, Megan, I heard this one guy. I think there's something in the internet market industry about like you want to be polarizing and you want to be controversial, and that's how you're going to get attention, but sometimes it creates confusion and just
Hmm.
stupidity. So I heard this one guy say compound interest is a myth, compound interest is BS. What you really want to do is you want to put your money in something that's going to make you some money, and then you want to take that money and you want to invest that in something that is going to make you more money, and then you want to take, I'm like, mother lover, what do you think compound interest is exactly? Because like
Yeah,
he's right. I'm like,
you literally
what
explained
are
it.
you talking about? Yeah. I think he's just trying to be controversial, but it kind of makes me want to like, you know,
Uh-huh.
um, yeah. So passive income is real. There are things that you can do that are completely passive, mostly passive, and there are things that require some, nurturing and
Homework.
looking at. Generally, if you want to be making more than 25 to 30% on your money, you're probably going to have to look at it.
You're listening to another episode of Empowered and Unstoppable. We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors. Are you ready to take your success to the next level? Visit www.meganbonnellcoaching.com.
Yeah.
Worth it. Worth it.
Yeah.
Well, and I love that about what you do is that you're not just teaching women to make money about money, but you really are teaching them to not depend only on their business. Like you said, there's nothing wrong with getting a paycheck. There's nothing wrong with going to work, and that's good, right? And for a lot of us that's exactly how we got to where we're getting. But especially in our economics time, which are just different, right? And some might classify them as scary, and it's not. I'm not going to get political, but our climate's shifting, right? With AI rising up and technology in general being a real player in the field now. There's just a lot of people that fear income, fear their jobs, right? Do I make enough, or am I even going to have a job next year? And I love that you're teaching them to get less dependent on that, right? So, what is maybe the first step a woman entrepreneur should
Yeah.
take if she wants true financial independence from her business eventually? Like, where does she start today?
Um, Let me walk you through kind of like this three-step process of how
Yeah.
I would approach this and how I did approach it and how I do approach it with clients. So the very first step is to tune into your financial freedom vision. This is your life if you didn't have to worry about money. You're going to need money for some of it, like where you live. Even if you have a paid for house, you're still going to have property taxes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So some of it you'll need money for. Some of the best things in life, are things money can't buy. Like I love taking a walk with my little kids or snuggling with them or whatever. Some of it's just that time freedom. But tune into like what is that financial freedom vision? If money was handled,
Mm-hmm.
what would you be doing with your life? Okay. And then put numbers to it. So it's like, okay, this is the life I want. How much does it cost to support that life? If you're already living in a home that you're happy with, you know how much that costs. If
Mm-hmm.
you want to get a different home, you can do some research. Do you want a 90-minute massage every week? You can look at like what is your favorite therapist charge? How much does that work out to? So once you put actual numbers to it, then you know, oh, this is how much passive income I need to be financially free at this level of lifestyle, right? So if you break it all down and your expenses are $10,000 a month US, then you would need at least $10,000 a month US in passive income to be financially free,
Yep.
right? So that's the baseline of your financial freedom plan because if you don't know how much passive income you need, then how will you know when you get there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's two types of passive income. So you're like, okay, I need $10,000 a month. Now, how do I get more passive income? Right?
Right, right.
Passive income. So the first one is where you buy assets. This is where you take some of your money, you're using your business as a vehicle to generate profits, and you take some of those profits and you put it into assets that grow your money. Do you remember the story of the goose that laid the golden eggs?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is Aesop's fable. You know, a goose would give like one golden egg every day, and then the farmer that owned the goose wanted to get all the eggs at once. So he killed the goose and opened it up, and of course, there's no eggs
No
in there.
eggs.
So the idea is you don't want to kill the goose. You want to grow a big enough golden goose that it can give you all the golden eggs you want. So if you need $10,000 a month in golden eggs, then you're like, okay, how big of a golden goose do I need?
Mm-hmm.
And how you would figure that out is you look at how much passive income you need, which you now know. That's why you're starting here. And
Yep.
then you look at what kind of a return you can get on your investments. And you might not know, but I'll just tell you, like, if you're working with a typical financial advisor from the whole like Wall Street big box
Yep.
advisor world, like Edward Jones, Morgan Stanley, any of these guys, they'll usually start with the 4% rule. Are you familiar with that?
Yes. But
Yeah.
share, because I'm sure that not everybody is.
So the 4% rule says that you can withdraw 4% of your investment portfolio as passive income each year, adjusted for inflation, without outliving your money or running out of money over a 30-year retirement, or the risk of running out of money is very low. So basically, if you can sell off 4% a year of your investments as golden eggs without killing the golden goose. So it's not my favorite, but this is really like this is what's out there. So let's start there and then see if we can improve it. So if you need $10,000 a month in passive income and you figure you can be taking 4% off your investments, then how big a golden goose would you need? Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to take your monthly amount and times it by 12 to get your annual amount. Because anytime we're talking about a rate of return, ROI, return on investment, we're talking about an annual percentage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So $10,000 a month times 12 is
120.
120,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then here's how you do the math on percentages. You take your annual number. I know like it's hard to listen to numbers sometimes, but we're just going to try, okay? So you take your annual number and you divide it by 0.04.
Hold on, I'm doing it.
Okay.
120,000 divided by 0.04. You ready?
Yeah.
$3 million.
Okay, so that gives you $3 million. So what that tells you, you're going to get some big number. In this case, we got 3 million. What that tells you is if you had a $3 million golden goose giving you 4% a year in golden eggs, that would give you $120,000 a year in golden eggs, which would be your $10,000 a month. Okay.
Yes.
Now, what a lot of people do is they look at that number and they go, oh my God.
I could never. Oh my gosh, I could never. Yeah.
Right. Now you might be there. You know, I've worked with millionaires, multimillionaires, decamillionaires. They're like, you might already be there, in which case all you need to do is get your golden goose laying more golden eggs and you're set, right? But if you don't have the 3 million, like that's okay. Let's work with this. So there's a few ways we can still compress the timelines. One is could you not only grow your golden goose faster, but could you get your golden goose laying more golden eggs? Like
Mm-hmm.
if you could get your goose laying 8% in golden eggs, then you would only need 1.5
You
million.
cut that in half. Yeah.
That's a lot, right? If you could get 16% return, then you'd only need 725,000. You would even need to be a
Mm-hmm.
millionaire. Now that still might feel big, but like do you see how it starts feeling more
Yep.
doable, right?
Yep.
So that's one is the golden goose. So you want to be growing your golden goose, get it laying more golden eggs, and then if that's not enough to get you there in 5 years or less, sometimes that's all you need. You're like
Mm-hmm.
boom, 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 ta-da,
Done.
I'm free,
I
yay!
arrived.
But if it's not, that's where step three comes in, and this is where, in addition to buying assets, you create assets. You use your creativity, time, know-how, social capital to create new passive income streams or even semi-passive income streams, which we can talk about. Now, semi-passive income, semi-passive means putting some ongoing time and energy into it. But like we were just talking about, like that's the case with a lot of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about how even passive income from real estate isn't as passive as a savings account,
Right,
or
right.
buying an index tracking fund where you just, buy and hold it or something like that. Um, so should we talk about some examples of creating assets?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's give it to them.
All right.
Let's
This
go.
is another way that you can leverage your business to help you become financially free. So one really, really, really easy way to get started that you're probably already even doing if you're listening to this is through affiliate programs.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost always free to become an affiliate of another business. So think about other products, services, companies that you like. And when you promote their products and services, you can get a commission. And some of them, like some of these online email platforms, some of them will pay ongoing commissions. So that's a new income stream for you for a referral that you make one time. But even if they just pay you a one-time commission, guess what you can do? You could take that money and you can put it into your golden goose and now turn it into a lifetime, you
Mm-hmm.
know, a lifetime income stream. And so affiliate commissions is a really low lift way where this is something that you're folding into your existing business without having to distract from your business, right?
Love it. Love it.
One of my favorites, especially if you're like a coach, speaker, author, somebody with a message to share with the world,
Mm-hmm.
but this could even work if you sell jewelry or clothing or tea. It can work in a lot of industries, is to have some kind of ongoing membership program. And you want to design it so that it enhances rather than competing with your other offerings.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't have to be low ticket. A lot of times when I say ongoing membership, people think low ticket. Not necessarily. Like Jeff Walker's Platinum Mastermind, I think is 25K a year, and people just pay that every year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want it to complement your other offers. So it's probably going to be a downsell, an upsell, or a continuation of your other programs. And then you want to design it so that it's as passive as possible for you, but still very valuable for the members.
Mm-hmm.
But the really good news about this, Megan, is if you want long-term success with anything, whether it's health, relationships, finance, business, marketing, like the number one key to long-term success is ongoing support. So you're setting your clients up for success, and then you're also setting yourself up to have that recurring revenue, which, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so this is an advanced ninja thing. When
Ooh.
you have monthly recurring revenue, should you decide to sell your business, because you can set your business up as an asset as well that could become part of your golden goose. When
Mm-hmm.
you have monthly recurring revenue, you can get a much better price when you sell your business because that's less risky for the person who's
Whoever's
buying
buying it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I love
Yeah.
that. And so those are the three steps. Go over them again. We're going to get that vision of
So
what financial freedom looks like.
step one, financial freedom vision. Step two, buy assets. Step three, create assets.
I love it. I love
And then
it.
like those three together, like I've seen people anywhere from already a decade millionaire to $500,000 in debt. You can take those steps and like wherever you are, use them to move you on that spectrum towards financial freedom.
And I hope if you are listening out there that you start today with that vision. It's funny that that's your step one because I feel like so many of my guests, they come from lots of different areas of business and the world and whatnot. And the very first thing that anybody ever has suggested, regardless of their topic, is awareness. Like, really just get to know, be aware, get clarity, have a vision. It is always that first step of where am I going? And
Yeah,
I love
right.
that.
Otherwise,
Financially, the same thing.
it makes me think of Alice in Wonderland when, Alice asks the Cheshire Cat, like, where should I go? He's like, well, where do you want to end up? She's like, I don't know. He's like, then it doesn't matter where you go.
And it doesn't matter. No, but it's so true. It's so, I joke a lot about with my clients, like if you don't know where you're going, try using that with Siri or your GPS on your phone. Like try to figure out how to get somewhere if you have no idea where your destination is. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Okay, so I have kind of a off topic, slightly, really more Penelope question.
Okay.
You built and rebuilt, and now you build for lots of people or teach them how to build these systems for freedom financially. And
Yeah.
you've made it your mission to empower women financially, which I can tell you are amazing at doing. But what part of you had to evolve the most in order to live this new chapter of prosperity
Mm.
versus where you were before?
Parts of me that had to evolve. So a big thing was I had to let go of taking on too much responsibility for other people, and just owning like my results and what I'm doing. And it's something that I continue to look at because,
Mm-hmm.
like, I talked about how you can have money stress at every level. And where I'm at now, like, I'm good, but sometimes I feel money stress on behalf of my team because,
Mm.
like, if we have an event bomb or I decide I don't want to do any events anymore, like, that's okay for me. you know, but I have all these people that have leveraged the magic of what we're doing and like sharing our message of prosperity and freedom all around the world. And we've all leveraged this magic that we've created and turned it into livelihoods for them as well.
Yeah.
So just on our team meeting today, I just invited them to I'm doing a wealth training for my clients on your financial freedom plan, like which is
Mm-hmm.
a deeper dive of those three steps that we talked
Yeah.
about, like going in with our financial freedom calculator and twisting the dials and pulling the levers and like creating their plan. And I was like, come to that call. Yes, it's for our clients, but like come
But
for your
come
own
on in.
come for your own financial freedom plan too, because one of the things I want to do is support my team to not only get a paycheck, but actually help them become financially free too.
Yes.
Right. Um, so I think that that's an ongoing thing is be responsible to people, but not responsible for
For
people.
them. I love
So
that.
that's a big inner game thing. A big outer game thing was learning to manage cash flow. That's why I teach it now because I was like, this changed my life. It changed my life from the real estate thing, but also from business because this business, my training and coaching company, it's an event-based business. We do a few events a year, and that's where we tend to open enrollment for our programs. And then the rest of the time, we're just serving our members.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would get a big influx of cash, and then a few months later, where did it all go?
Yeah. Yeah.
So understanding how to manage the day-to-day cash flow, that's been really life-changing too, because I can look at our cash flow projections and I can be like, oh, in 4 months, we're going to be $10,000 short if we don't do anything. Well, I would rather know that 4 months ahead of time when I could
Mm-hmm.
sell a VIP day or make an offer or do something rather than like, oh my God, I need $10,000 this week. Ah! Which is
Yeah.
what used to happen to me, okay, in full transparency. So I like having that nice long runway to see if there's something I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to like save, do I need to cut out some expenses? Do I need to sell something? It gives me a lot of time to figure that out. So those are some of the really big things just off the top of my head.
I
Um,
love it.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the piece that when most people go to get financial advice and somebody is helping them, that nobody really talks about is that there is that inner game, that almost identity upgrade that you need to have if you want that outer game to be upgraded as well. And so it isn't separate. Like you said at the very beginning, it is very difficult, especially for women, I think, to separate out your emotional well-being from your financial well-being. And so you need to work on both. And I love that you call it the inner game and the outer game. I think that that's so perfect. Okay, well, I have one final question, and then I would love for you to tell all of the listeners exactly where to get more of Penelope. So here is my final question for you. If you could write a message on a magical sticky note that is going to appear on every woman's mirror in the morning, what would it say?
Ooh, I think it would say, do something today that your future self will thank you for.
Oh, I love that so much. That might be my favorite one so far.
Yeah, I
Do
ran into
something for yourself today that your future self will
yeah, I
thank you
was
for.
I was just like on Facebook and I saw that and I don't even know who said it. It was just like one of those little quote things. I'm like, "Oh my God, like that's it. And I'm so grateful to my past self for everything that she went through to get me to the level of financial freedom that I get to enjoy today and getting to
Yes.
the amazing team and work with these amazing clients and connect with inspiring movers and shakers like you. Like I mean, wow. She had to go through a lot to get me here. And now I get to live this incredible life. And then I even think about like, okay, my future self, now what's the legacy I want to give her?
Yes.
Sometimes when I talk about how, we implemented some tax reduction strategies in my own life. That's another one of the things I teach to create like an $8 million retirement for our kids. And people will be like, wow, I wish you were my mom. I wish
Yeah.
I wish my mom had done that for me. I'm like, yeah, me too. But on the other hand, like you can choose this moment to give yourself that gift and parent your own inner child because,
Mhm.
we are the heir of the version of ourself that came before us, and we're the ancestor of that next level of ourself.
Yep.
So we can still give that gift to our future self. So I think that's
Yeah,
really
dear. I love that. Do something for yourself today that your future self will thank you for. Write it down, ladies. That is a good one. Well, I think it's very clear, Penelope, that we all need, all of us, like you said, whether we're a deca millionaire or we are $500,000 in debt, some of your magic in our world. So it seems to me like you have not an answer, but very possibly the answer for all of us that we've been waiting for. So, where can our friends that are listening go to start, connect with you, learn from you, join the work you're doing? Where do they go?
Mm. Well, before I share that, I want to say something that you might not realize if you're listening to this, and that is that um, 86% of financial advisors are men. Most of them are over 50. And there is an inherent gender bias baked into the financial planning industry, like in a lot of industries. And so those like Wall Street big box financial advisor models don't take into account women's longer lifespans, differences in our career paths, and our financial goals. And so statistically, women end up with less money at retirement, but it has to last us longer, which is
Ooh,
infuriating. And even on top of all of that, when you look at the performance of active money managers, 98% of them can't beat the market net of fees. And it's okay if you don't understand everything that I just said there, but the main thing I want you to get is, especially as women, we think, "Oh, if I don't understand this investing thing, let me hire somebody. Let me get a financial advisor." And what I want you to know is you can absolutely do this. And you can probably do it better than them because a tiny bit of financial education can go a long way. So, with that in mind, the very next step is to download my ebook, The Financial Freedom Formula. We will provide a link where you can get that for free. We'll put it in the
mhm.
show notes, or you can go to financialfreedomgift.com. Financialfreedomgift.com. And there you can download your free gift or free copy of the Financial Freedom Formula. You're going to get a review and in-depth more on like everything we talked about in terms of what exactly you personally need to become financially free. We'll go deeper into the two types of passive income and how to get more of each. So grab it. It's bite-sized but powerful. It'll take you maybe 10 minutes to read, but it can
Love
change
that.
your life forever. So grab that. And then I want to give you a hack. On the next page, you'll get a magic link to where you can claim a ticket to our Financial Freedom 101 online 3-day event. That event, advanced tickets are on sale on my website for $14.97, and it's totally worth it. However, with this hack, when you go through the Financial Freedom Formula ebook, it'll take you to a page where you can get a full scholarship worth
What?
1,500. I know. So you do have to put down a $97 seat deposit to show like you actually want
Show up. Yep, yep.
refundable. So when you come to the event, we'll refund it. If it ends up you can't come to the event after all, we'll refund it. If you just completely flake and never talk to us again, we're going to keep it. But
Yeah,
it's just
fair,
it's just it's
fair.
just for accountability. But that's where in 3 days you'll get the money skills, tools, and systems you need to become financially free forever. So think about all the time and money that you've invested in your formal education between grade school and high school and maybe college and your professional education with licenses, degrees, certification, business mentorships, marketing trainings. Like, is 3 days and a $97 refundable deposit an appropriate amount to invest to finally get your stuff, your money stuff dialed in so you can be financially secure for the rest of your life?
I can
I,
answer that. Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So that is why we're doing that. So go grab the Financial Freedom Formula ebook. And when you're like, assuming you're willing to make space for 3 days to set your future self up for success, then you can also claim your scholarship ticket to Financial Freedom 101.
Ah, Penelope, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, for all of you listening, Go check her out, but specifically go to financialfreedomgift.com and there'll be a link in the show notes. Go through that, right? She said it's going to take you about 10 minutes and then claim that ticket. Ladies, $97. That's refundable, is an amazing gift for you to be able to go to her 3-day event, which I have just constantly heard and read rave reviews about. So I have confidence in saying, yes, that is absolutely worth your time, worth your refundable deposit, all of the above, because I can promise you that this woman is going to teach you wealth in a way that really will heal you and free you. So Penelope, thank you. Thank you for your story and your wisdom and your resilience, because if you hadn't gone through that, past Penelope, then we all wouldn't have the gift of you. So this has been the kind of conversation I think that changes how women can see their power, which is exactly what this is all about. So Penelope, thank you.
Thank you so much, Megan. So wonderful. And yeah, we didn't even get into investment strategy. So maybe we can like come back around to it some.
100%. Yes, Penelope part 2. That needs to happen. Totally. I'm getting you on my calendar for, 4 months from now when we all have time to do it, but we need to do it. So to everybody listening, remember this: you do not have to hustle your way to wealth necessarily. You don't have to bleed for your business necessarily. And you sure as hell don't have to spend your life making money from fear. You are worthy of wealth that feels joyful, and you are capable of freedom in this lifetime. And Penelope says in 5 years, which, imagine, for some of us, that is absolutely life-changing. And yes, you, my listeners, are absolutely empowered and unstoppable to do all of these things. I'm Megan Bonnell. This was Penelope Jane Smith. If today hit home, please share us, tag us, share this show with all of your girlfriends that need the same information. Remember, all of the links are going to be in the show notes. And you can find all of the episodes for Empowered and Unstoppable there as well if you visit your favorite podcast app or YouTube. Feel free to follow me, follow Penelope. Please reach out. We will answer you personally. And my friends, make the change. Make the shift that you've been yearning for to finally experience that joy and financial freedom. So until next week, let the empowered and unstoppable version of you take the reins. I'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in to Empowered and Unstoppable. If today's episode spoke to you, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend who needs a boost of empowerment. Are you ready to take your success to the next level? Visit www.meganbonnellcoaching.com. Remember, you're not just capable, you're unstoppable. See you next time.